But first, to breaking news in Northeast Portland, where police say at least 2 people have been stabbed.
So this is the scene in a residential neighborhood near Northeast 25th and Hancock. Authorities say both people have been taken to the hospital and the suspect was gone before officers arrived. One neighbor who saw the aftermath was shocked to hear what happened.
When you said stabbing, I couldn't believe it because I've never heard of anything like that around here. But I guess nobody's immune anymore these days, right?
We'll keep you updated as more details come in.
Thanks for joining us on this Christmas Eve. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. Now to the search for a driver in a deadly hit and run. Today, authorities identified the person killed and released images of the vehicle they're looking for.
Let's bring in John Adams live near Southeast 122nd and Madison with the update. John?
Yeah, David and Christine, police have identified the victim today as 63-year-old Brian Stone. And folks I spoke to here in the area tell me he used services at a nearby homeless shelter. Portland police believe the person driving this vehicle is responsible for hitting and killing 63-year-old Brian Stone at an intersection in Southeast Portland early Saturday morning. Police say it's possibly a light-colored 1990s Subaru wagon with likely damage to the driver's side headlight. Stone was hit at the intersection of Southeast 122nd and Madison. A person we spoke with said he knew Stone from a nearby men's shelter.
I just heard that he was a good guy. He just got ran over.
This man, who didn't want to go on camera, says he also had a friend that got hit and killed in the same spot a few years ago.
One guy ran him over, and then I guess the other guy was following right behind him, and he hit him twice.
We also met others on Wednesday who had brief interactions in the past with Stone.
They're just kind of like, not your average Joe, but just a chill person trying to survive like the rest of us.
The fact that the driver fled the scene is angering many in the area.
It's against the law to even hit somebody and run, you know? It's not even cool. It's not right.
Michael Hull says he wears a button to raise awareness for traffic deaths in the city of Portland. He tells us drivers in this area are rarely careful.
I wear what I can so people can see me. But even then, they don't stop. They don't even slow down.
Portland police believe private security and doorbell cameras in the vicinity may have captured critical video that could help in the investigation. They are asking businesses and people living nearby to send them their video from between 12:05 and 12:20 a.m. on Saturday, December 20th, to see if it can help identify the vehicle. And if you do have video that you were able to find from early Saturday morning, there's a way to upload that so police can view it. We have step-by-step instructions on how to do just that on our website, kgw.com. Just look for this article. David, Christine, back to you.
John Adams in Southeast Portland. Thank you, John.
Let's take a step outside now for a live look over downtown Portland, where thankfully we avoided the high wind forecast for today with no reports of major issues.
I mean, that is great news. Let's bring in Celine Stevens in for Matt tonight. Celine, Merry Christmas. How's it looking tonight and tomorrow?
Well, Merry Christmas, you guys. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. This is really our Christmas present, the pretty mild weather for the most part. So we saw a little bit of shower activity today, nothing too intense. And looking outside right now at our sky camera at the Oregon Zoo, lots of people out there enjoying the Christmas Eve. We're seeing temperatures in the mid-40s at the moment. Winds are actually nice and calm. And we're going to pretty much see this pattern continue into tomorrow. As you can see today, we had a little bit of shower activity. We saw less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. So nothing too impactful. Over the last couple of hours, we had a little bit of showers passing through our area. It was really just a light drizzle, and that's what we're going to see as we get into the next few days. Looking at our temperatures right now, upper 40s at home, 46 in Troutdale, low 40s in Hillsborough. Also seeing temperatures along the coast in the mid to lower 40s. And so the only thing to really look out for is going to be this winter weather advisory for the Cascades that will go into effect early Friday. They could see up to 11 inches of snow in elevations above 4,000 feet. So if you're headed there, look out for that for winter travel. But really quick, looking at our future cast, some rain Christmas morning, 5:30 in the morning, brief spurts. It'll stop, and then around noon we'll have some more rain activity, and then in the evening some more showers creep in. But good news, the weekend's looking mostly dry. We'll talk more about that in a bit.
That is great news. Thanks, Celine.
Developing tonight, police are looking for a man who robbed a Southeast Portland thrift store over the weekend, one that helps people trying to get back on their feet.
Let's bring in Devin Haskins live along Southeast Foster. And Devin, apparently this was all caught on camera.
Yeah, it was. This all happened Saturday night around 7:30. The store, the super thrift store here on Southeast Foster, wouldn't say how much was stolen, but did say that it did come at the end of a very busy weekend day. Take a look at that security camera footage that is mentioned. You see a man there in an orange sweatshirt. He walks into the Portland super thrift store on Southeast Foster. He walks through the clothing section first, then a minute or two later, he slowly approaches the front register and an iPad on top of it before grabbing both of them and sprinting off. The thrift store is run by the nonprofit Adults and Teen Challenge. They help people struggling with addiction or other life challenges learn job skills and then gain experience to turn their lives around. And even though they'd like to see the person responsible caught, the store would also like to offer them help if they want it.
There's no way you could ever understand everything that somebody's going through. So having grace in these challenging moments is difficult, but it's something that we strive for on a daily basis. And, we're trying to, put hope within reach until all live free.
The store said that they were able to get the iPad returned. It was found at a nearby park, along with an orange sweatshirt there as well. Portland police say they're still looking for the man responsible. Back to you.
Wow, it says a lot that they're trying to approach this with grace. Devin Haskins live in Southeast Portland. Thank you, Devin.
In tonight's headlines, we have learned 2 people in their 80s were killed in a crash Tuesday near Oregon City. Sheriff's deputies say it appears a Jeep and pickup hit head-on South Redland Road near Meadowview Drive. Authorities say a third car was also involved. According to police, the driver and passenger in the Jeep, an 85-year-old man and 82-year-old woman from Estacada, both died. The others involved were not seriously hurt. No word on what led up to the crash.
A health clinic in the Gorge has resumed most of its services after last week's windstorm severely damaged its largest building in the Dalles. Adventist Health Columbia Gorge says 80% of services have been relocated to other facilities in the Dalles and Hood River. They expect to have their internal medicine clinic open by Monday and are still working on relocating ear, nose, and throat services. Meantime, a temporary roof has been put on the main clinic before repairs begin. There's no estimate for when it'll reopen.
In Central Oregon, investigators say spontaneous combustion is to blame for a fire that burned down a warehouse overnight. This is in Terrebonne, about 20 miles north of Bend. Authorities say the Core Botanica building was storing millions of pounds of shredded mint leaf waiting to be processed. Crews now believe the fire started in a storage bin that housed wet mint. Firefighters had to pull back and let the fire burn while protecting other buildings on the property. Because of all the crop inside, they expect the site to continue smoking for several days. No one was hurt.
Homeland Security responded today to a lawsuit from the city of Newport, one that accuses the Trump administration of trying to set up an ICE detention facility in town without notifying officials or the public. Keep in mind, the federal government has never confirmed plans for a facility there, and it appears here it's continuing to neither confirm nor deny. In a statement, DHS said, quote, accusing ICE of setting up a black site, those are their words, is a disgusting, unhinged smear and is part of the demonizing rhetoric from sanctuary politicians that has directly led to a more than 1,150% increase in assault against ICE officers this year. It goes on to say Homeland Security reserves the right to use its own property to support its own operations and the mission given to it by the American people to uphold the laws they passed through Congress. No lawsuit is going to stop us from fulfilling that mission, end quote.
Not a lot of clarity there. Okay, we're following up tonight after the Supreme Court refused to allow the Trump administration to deploy National Guard troops to Chicago.
Yeah, it's a move legal experts say has implications in other cities. Alma McCarty has a look at what this could mean for Portland. Alma.
Yeah, David, Christine, justices took a little over 2 months to act to refuse the deployment of the Guard. They declined the Trump administration's emergency request to overturn a U.S. District Court ruling in an unsigned order Tuesday.
It's a similar issue to what we had here in Portland.
That issue, whether the president could federalize and then deploy the National Guard in Chicago. The Trump administration insisting that troops are needed to protect federal agents there involved in immigration enforcement.
And the administration lost those rulings in Chicago. Administration ultimately requested a stay from the Supreme Court.
And on Tuesday, justices denied the stay, refusing this request. Here's Tong Yin, a professor at Lewis and Clark Law School.
What's interesting is that the theory the court used is not one that the city of Chicago argued, and it's not one that was argued here in Oregon either.
The Supreme Court finding that the only way the president could deploy the National Guard would be to supplement regular military forces should they be unable to restore order.
The Supreme Court went farther and said, in addition, we don't think that the president right now can show that he can even deploy the regular military forces because of the Posse Comitatus Act. And that's the act that says that absent an act of Congress, the president cannot use regular military to enforce civilian law.
Yin says when it comes to Portland, this action sets precedent, directing lower courts to follow suit. Although Portland's ICE facility, the site of months-long demonstrations, sits deserted Christmas Eve, Yin believes the legal fight to send troops here isn't really over.
It probably doesn't really end all of the legal fighting over whether the president can actually deploy the National Guard, because there are these other avenues that will simply be at point zero and have to go through more of the legal issues as well.
Meantime, Governor Tina Kotek says 100 Oregon National Guard service members remain at station at Camps Rylea and Withacombe. David, Christine, back to you.